G'day mate and welcome to Captain History with me, Jitty. I want to ask a very simple question, and that is, which island are you going to choose for update number 1? Because there is 6 islands to choose from. Well, 7 if you count the supporters edition, the Creator Island. So I want to ask you, which island is best suited to your needs? Which island is best suited to your playthrough? On top of that, I want to demonstrate some of the differences between the old islands and the new ones. Hence, we're going to be splitting this video up into 7 chapters for 7 islands, and we're going to have a quick tour of all the new islands and also, all the updated islands, and also compare them back to their original. So, I have to ask a couple of things first, right off the top of the list. 1, can I borrow a like? I just like to borrow it. If you're not happy with the video, by all means, you can have it back. And secondly, once you watch the video to the end, can you down in the comment section tell me which island are you going to be playing for the new update? Anyway, with that out of the way, let's start with New Haven. New Haven is designed really as your starter map, your easing into the game map, something to really wet your teeth, have a look-see, and get you used to the mechanics of Captain History. Highly recommended for new players, first-time players. New Haven is definitely my map of choice, or my recommended map. Let's stick with recommended map. It's not my map of choice, but definitely a recommended map. I had a chance to play this in the alpha. It's a fairly easy-going map. Now, a quick look around the map we have. Well, plenty of room to get you started. Okay, that's going to be very important. This is one of the advantages of New Haven. You can pretty much set up things permanently right from square one. Actually, you'll find if you ever looked into Captain History speed runs, generally it happens on this island because it's the easiest. Yeah. Resources wise, we have coal right here, we have limestone right here, we have copper here, sand here, and of course iron. Around the back of the map, we have gold here, and quartz is buried over there. Yeah, it is a very easy map where all your resources are nice and close at hand. On top of that, it only has 3 levels. So we have the base level, we have 1 step up to the higher level, and 1 step up to the top level. That's all that's going to be required if you want to, scale all 3 levels of the island. By the same token, Captain History, my main goal is to bring the island down to flat. You know, level 1 above sea level, level 2 above sea level, whichever it happens to be, and just flatten the whole thing. But yes, this is definitely the easiest map to play. It is really designed to not be too much of a challenge and really get you used to the game mechanics. If you haven't played a map before, if you haven't played Captain History before, I highly recommend you start on this map because it's going to be the easiest on you. Yes. As for resources, we'll put up the overlay right now between the old map and the new map, and you can see how some of the resources have changed around. So that moves us on to the beach. Now, the beach is a little bit more of an interesting map, a little bit more of a challenge, something that probably not recommended for your first playthrough. It's gonna challenge the way that you have to think about the game. First off, as you may notice, we start on, the beach. The beach is handy except for the fact that, all your sand is a majority of your sand. Not all your sand, but there's a lot of sand underneath the starting village. Which means a common thing that you'll find with most Captain History maps is you end up, wherever you start, you end up moving everything. So expect whatever you put on the beach to end up being moved in the long term. Not guaranteed, but there's a lot of valuable resources right here that you're probably going to want. As for resources, we have limestone right here. It's nice and close. We have iron right here, also nice and close. We have coal right here, and copper's right there. It's all on the very first level terrain. You're going to be finding it fairly easy to get to. One thing you may notice is the lack of a nice shoreline. Yeah, it just doesn't exist. So you're going to have to landfill and make sure you have some areas to actually set up some docks. I found here is not a bad spot for docks. Also, out here is not a bad spot for docks. It will require some significant terraforming. As for the rest of the island, it's multi-level. So you can technically, after you've dug through the copper, or if you wish to drive all the way around, drive the truck straight up to the 2nd level to access this sand. You might need that early game. Probably not, considering how much is on the beach. But then from there, you'll have to build yourself a ramp up to this coal over here and also the limestone over here. On top of that, your oil is, from memory, unless it's moved, yep, it's on the beach. Also water sources, so you have a lot of starting resources available. One thing you may notice is your gold is all the way over here on a 2nd island. You are going to have to bridge the 2 islands. The good news is it's not as deep as it looks. We can see the sandbars right there. So it's very close to the surface. It's not going to be too hard to get to, but this is the beach. It's a little bit more challenging, probably recommended for those that are either experienced in logistics sort of games or have already completed their first playthrough. Of course, I'll show you the before and after with the resource allocation, but with that out of the way, we need to go look at Curland. Now, Curland is a little bit of a different map. As we can see, there's plenty of room to build. Lots and lots of room to build. The catch is the enormous diesel cost. I think that's where the real challenge of this map comes in, is the incredible amount of diesel cost you're going to go through with your trucks driving such long distances. We have our starting location all the way down here. It's a pretty good starting location. In fact, this is one of those maps where I'm fully expecting if you plan a little bit in advance, you're probably not going to have to move anything. You can probably leave your settlement right here. You could also choose to move it and start building your factory as a permanent placement. Whereas you'll find a theme with a lot of other maps, at least in my opinion, is you're going to want to put everything down as a starter base, which you're going to move and clean up later. We'll find that iron is right here, copper is right here. We have limestone right here, buried in this hill. Plenty of sand. Oil is right here. There's another oil node over here, and you may notice that there's a small amount of oil at sea. The catch is this oil is very, very deep. Getting out to it is not going to be a quick and easy task, which is good because, well, in theory, you're going to have to set up offshore drilling and everything else first. As for the rest of the map, you may notice that it is, well, as I said before, large. We can get our trucks, well, you're going to have to build a ramp up to this second level here, which should be fine, which will get you access to your second oil deposit, also a whole lot of quartz. And then after we get there, you're going to have to build another ramp up to the top level, which will get you access to your second iron node, your copper node, your coal node, which actually goes right through this hill. And finally, at the far end of the island is gold. So when it comes to getting your gold, you really want to be either far enough in the game where diesel is no longer a problem, or you bridge the gap. Yeah. The one advantage of Curland is there is a lot of shore space, an awful lot of shore space. Sure, none of it's straight. You can fix that relatively quickly and relatively easily and put in a lot of cargo docks. You can get an insane amount of items shipped in and out of this island from cargo docks. You could become a trading mecca, apart from, well, you need a whole lot of unity to do all those trades and have all those ships. So, you know, I hope you build a self-sustaining base that is very high in unity output, so you can afford to import all those goods that you're going to be having all those ships for. Again, like I said, the biggest challenge with this map is just the sheer amount of diesel that you end up chewing with the trucks driving such a long distance. Something to keep in mind. Make sure that your petrochem refinery setups are on point. Again, I will show you the before and after map with the resource locations and how things have changed. But with that out of the way, we need to look at the next map, the one I played last time, the Golden Peak. Now, the Golden Peak is a map that I am intimately familiar with. This is the map that I did my last Let's Play through. And yeah, I know every inch of this island after many, in excess of 1,000 hours of staring at it and terraforming it and doing my best to absolutely level it. One thing you may notice about this island is, well, it's called the Golden Peak because that mountain in the middle is pure gold. It's also one of the biggest challenges about this map. Okay, we're going to start with the starting location. It is not large. This is where things are going to get to a little bit more difficult stage. As for starting resources, we have iron right here, we have sand, we have copper. Oil is over here, which I don't remember being there. I haven't recently looked at the before and after photos, so maybe oil was right there. I have a feeling it was over here, but it's fine. Oil's right here, it turns out. Coal is here, and well, although the trucks can drive up to this level, you're going to end up building a ramp right through your coal mine, and then that gets you up to a slightly higher level that is, well, the edge of your limit. Yeah. Anything more than that, you're going to have to start terraforming, and I think this is one of the big things about this map. This map will require substantial terraforming to get you access to more resources. A couple of things I want to note, just because I am super intimately familiar with this map. Your copper is fairly deep, your iron is fairly deep as well, and this iron is even deeper, and your quickest way to more flat land is through the corner of this hill. It's quicker to dig than it is to fill, so dig your way through the corner, dump the excess into the sea, so you can get through to this part. This part is quite flat and is not a bad spot to set up a more permanent settlement. In saying that, be warned, because that is a lot of coal right there that you're going to have to dig through. Also, it turns out that this is where the quartz has been hidden on top of, well, some water and some other things. The other thing you might notice with all these different platforms is none of them are flat. We have our, well, starting area, our secondary starting area, our third starting area. This is not big enough to build anything, and that has ribs on it. Yeah, it's not ribbed for her pleasure, it's just ribbed so you cannot build anything on it without sending some diggy boys over to flatten it first. On top of that, it is multi-level. So from there we have yet another level, with yet another level, with yet another level, and then right around the back of the island is where we get back to the sand. This is also another cost with this island, is you end up digging around the island in the anti-clockwise rather than trying to dig through all this sand and level out this way, which means, again, you're going to go through an awful lot of diesel. An awful lot of diesel as you end up digging back here, because digging through that giant pile of gold is going to be painful. Not to mention, you don't need gold to the end game. You can't even process it to the end game. So any gold you accidentally clip when you're doing iron mining or just general terraforming is gold that you're going to have to store or dump in the sea till much later in the game. Do want to note from personal experience, you can dump it in the sea, you're not going to run out, just saying. Or you can put it down as roads for your vehicles. Yeah, I'll link up to the top right hand corner, video I did on roads. I like gold roads. Gold roads are awesome. Anyway, that is the Golden Peak. Well, sorry, yes, it is called the Golden Peak. Yep, I played this map. I enjoyed this map. It was definitely a challenge. I actually think it's one of the hardest maps, if not the hardest map, just due to the limited starting area. And also, well, nothing is suitable to be built on. And I do also want to mention that, whatever you're placing here, we're going to call it a starter factory because it's not going to survive. It is going to get removed because, well, your iron is right here. That you need to dig out a couple of tiles to get to the bottom of it, and you're probably going to want to get to the bottom of it. This one, you're probably not going to go all the way through. The copper, again, you're probably going to want to go all the way through, which is going to make life difficult. And I should mention sand as well. There's not a lot of sand. Well, there's a lot of sand. It just happens to be in the sea. So again, if you want to get this sand out, which does continue out for quite some time, expect to have to landfill around it to then push the sea out to then dig it back out. It's a terraforming project and a half. Anyway, with that out of the way, we should go look at InsulaMortis. Oh, no, actually, we should do the overlay between the old map and the new map and the resource locations. Yes, then InsulaMortis. The InsulaMortis, the Island of Death. This one is a unique map. It's not one that I have a chance to play on yet, personally, but I've been told it's not easy to play. Yeah. Now, I do want to do this one a little bit different. Let's do the resource locations first before we actually have a look through the island. Yeah, because things have changed slightly, like the Golden Tooth. I do think the Golden Tooth is a nice touch. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's have a look around the map. So we have our starting location. Starting location is down here. We might notice there are some nice rolling hills here at the back. This is for your dirt collection to make some early bricks. But that's where the niceties stop. Your next one is iron, which is all the way over here. Coal, which is here, which technically, I guess, forms a ramp into this higher level, which the trucks can access early on via driving over the coal that you're going to be digging up. Yeah, about that. Okay. And actually I should mention copper. Copper's over here. Okay. So that's your 3 starting resources. Sand is, well, buried in the teeth. Also a tooth of gold, which honestly early game's going to get in your way. And that's where the niceties sort of stop. From there on, everything is, well, on separate islands. So over here we have that'll be our quartz. That'll be our quartz over there, along with a second oil node. Going through, well, the teeth, we have iron, we have more sand, we have copper, we have gold over here, we have coal over here, and again, we might notice that there is the ribbed nature from the Golden Peak, which means these areas are going to be useless to build on. You're going to have to flatten them. There's going to be a lot of terraforming going on this one. It's when we finally reach to the forehead. You may notice that, yes, this is again 3 different levels. So even if you thought you'd finally reached flatland, the bad news is your flatland is mostly useless. Well, partially useless. As for the other 2 ends of the crossbones, we have, well, a whole bunch of iron over here and a whole bunch of coal over here. It is a very rich map. The catch is most of it is not accessible. So you're going to end up doing a lot of terraforming on this map. Not only terraforming to actually have somewhere to build a factory, but on top of that, a lot of terraforming to actually access these resources. If you wish to dig out all the sand for the teeth, you need to, well, landfill, well, probably the easiest one is here, and landfill all the way across, and then dig it all back out. Which means, yeah, an awful lot of terraforming is going to have to happen. And it's not a case of just, seal this off, dam it off, and then drain the water, because, well, the devs still haven't given us a bilge pump. What we need to do is actually fill in every single tile and get this whole lot level-ish before we then start digging it back out. I do admit there are tools that have been added to the update 1 that make this a whole lot easier, but it's still going to be a very expensive process. Very expensive, very time-consuming process. InsulaMortis is, well, the island of death for a reason. With that out of the way, we should go talk about You Shall Not Pass. And then we have You Shall Not Pass, which is the harshest of the harsh islands. Yes, this one is designed to be a challenge right from the get-go. Again, we're going to show the before and the after, the old map versus the new map. It's changed slightly. Also, the resource locations have definitely changed a fair bit. Now, this is not a map that I have personally played, but I have seen others play, and it's not an easy map to play. Let's have a quick look around. So the first thing you may notice, which might be a little bit difficult from the screenshots, is there's not a lot of area to start with, and those mountains are very large. Yeah, we have a small starting area. There is a good amount of beach that you can hopefully put to some sort of use, but you're going to be limited on, well, wood, coal, a whole lot of things are going to be your limiting factor. On top of that, you need to find somewhere to get up to the top of that hill, and none of it is going to be quick and easy to get to. You need to get to the top of that hill as fast as possible. 1, so you can remove all the trees. 2, so you can actually start building a factory. And the other big thing with this map is what is commonly done is you get to the top of the hill, you build a factory, meanwhile, well, you flatten the island and fill out the sea to have a bit more room, and then you're going to end up removing your factory and rebuilding it down here. Yeah, it's definitely a map with a whole lot of rebuilding your factory, just the same as Death Island along with the Golden Peak. They're all maps where you have a starter base that you're going to remove and rebuild. The catch is you're going to have a starter base here, then an intermediate base probably up here, that then you're going to remove and put back down here. As for resources wise, well, we have a decent amount of coal to start off with. It is hidden into the mountains, so, incentive to dig up. We have a lot of copper and a lot of iron, a little bit of oil, and plenty of limestone. Your quartz on the left, limestone's on the right, I hope. Yes, had to double check the key. Yes, quartz on the left, limestone on the right. Plenty of sand on the coastline. Gold is, sorry, let's bring that back up. Gold is all the way around the back. Again, you don't need that to late game, and, well, it's up a mountain, so as long as you've been digging through the mountain the whole way, you should be good. Yeah. As for the rest of the island, well, a lot of people end up building an awful lot of land mass out the front, and then proceeding to build their factory down here at sea level. It is not the easiest map to play. It's definitely a challenge. Well, that is till you get to the higher level. Once you get to the higher level, things are a little bit easier, but it is definitely a race of time to get from here up to there. Once you're up, things ease up a little bit. It is the challenging map. It is designed for experts only. As for resource locations, well, there isn't really. The only thing you get a second resource location for is coal, which is right here at the back, because that is all your iron, that is all your copper, that is all your limestone, all your quartz, and all your gold. Yeah, one advantage is you don't have to have separate mining operations. You can just start mining and just be mining forever and all in one location. It's fairly easy. There is another oil around here at the back, which, oh, can we turn that back on? There we go. Which will probably require you to do some leveling first to get access to. Or you could just put 1 or 2 oil, what are they called? Oil pumps on very, very early and start dragging the oil out, probably with a very long pipe. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting map. And that is the end of, well, the default maps in the game. There is one more. There is one more map, being the crater, which is in the supporters only DLC, which I want to have a look at as well. Now, the crater is a unique map. It's a truly unique map. First off, it's unique because it's just in the supporters DLC. Secondly, it's unique as it's an upside down island. As in, most of the islands stick up from the sea. The crater does the exact opposite. It definitely digs into the sea. Rumor is it was once a long abandoned uranium mine or a nuclear test site. Just saying. Whilst the uranium is long gone, still many valuable resources left exposed. You'll need to be extremely careful not to breach the outer perimeter, otherwise the ocean will be flood the entire crater, which is the notes on this map, and that is entirely true. The whole island is below sea level. Yeah, or at least to most of it. You have a very, very, very limited starting area. From there, you need to pop it down on a little ramp. The ramp is not too bad. It's a fairly short ramp. It just means that, you know, you can't build anything there because the ground's not flat. To get to a slightly flatter area, we have our starting oil over here. We have, well, copper right here. On this side, we have starting water along with iron, an awful lot of iron, and then coal. And then, well, that's when things get difficult because everything is staggered down level to more for map pleasure. Yep, to level. There's lots of steps down, so you're going to need a number of ramps to get all the way down to the bottom of the crater. Now, at the bottom of the crater, you are going to be lucky enough to find a very large water deposit. It sort of makes sense, you know, rainwater goes into the middle, and then you can suck it back out. It is another map that has just all the resources placed exactly where you want them. Okay, well, not exactly where you want them, in a single large deposit. So all our iron is here, all our coal is here, all our limestone is unfortunately all the way back there, which some spread it in here in amongst the quartz, but a majority of it is all the way back there. Of course, then we have our copper. Gold is right here at the back on the coastline, which is problematic because, as the map said, if you breach the walls, bad things happen and the whole map will flood instantly. And if this map floods, there is no way to recover. You are done. You are done. So yeah, this is definitely the most challenging map, and personally, in my opinion, due to the lack of starting area. On top of that, you have the constant risk of, well, what happens if I breach the edges? And also, you're going to be mining up to those edges very regularly. If we just look at, well, our limestone and our quartz right here, it goes right out to the edge. Also does the sand. So do you spend time terraforming out here so you're protected in case you breach, or do you spend time terraforming out here to actually have somewhere flat to build? Oh, that was the other problem. Do you terraform, well, do you mine out and terraform out here and then build everything level at a -10 level? Or do you bring everything up to the surface, up to sea level up here at +2? Yeah, this map is definitely, I think, probably, well, definitely one of the challenging maps. As I said, I played the Golden Peak last time. Very, very challenging map. I found it very interesting to play. The crater, well, it's only available in the DLC, so it's a very exclusive map to start with, and does not look like an easy game to play or an easy map to play. But with all that said, they are the 6 or 7, if you have this particular map choices for at least for update 1, because the map editor didn't make it into this particular version, so no custom maps just yet. And I need to ask you down in the comment section below, which map are you going to be playing? And on top of that, same time, tell me, what map do you think I should play? We already did the Golden Peak. It was difficult, don't get me wrong, but we managed to accomplish it. So we need a new challenge, something with a little bit more challenge. Let's leave it a challenge. Anyway, with all that said, they are your map choices. Tell me, as I said, which map do you wish to choose? And with all that said and done, I need to remind you that, like earlier in the video, can I keep it now? Because you've watched all the way to the end. I'd like to keep it. Is that all right with you? Anyway, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the very next video. All right, bye.